Hey, welcome back to the second half of the parent function slopes day 3 lesson. All right, we're just gonna get right into it. Y equals f has been graphed for you. This is a parent function on the same grid. Graph the following in different colors. So the y-intercept is 3, and then your slope is going to be 1 over 1. So we're going to plot at 3 this time, 1, 2, 3. And the slope is 1 over 1. That means you're going up 1 and to the right 1. Going up 1 to the right 1. And I'm going to pause this and do this. And if you're not sure, the other way is going to be down 1 to the left 1 because it's negative, negative. But I'm going to pause it, finish it up, so I take up less time. All right, that's the first graph. And then the second one in blue again. This time the y-intercept is negative 3. You're going to have a slope of 1 over 1. So again, up 1 to the right 1. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3 down here. And up 1 to the right 1. And same like the last one. I'm going to finish this graph up while you do it. So I'm going to pause the video. All right, so we have these graphs now. So how does the 3 change your graph? So let's look at it. Is the graph steeper? No. If you look at the parent function, it's pretty much parallel to it. It's not going to, if you keep going, it's not going to touch. What it's doing is it actually has shifted the graph up 3 spots. So the graph has shifted 3 places. 3 boxes, 3 places. If you're looking at the blue graph for y equals x minus 3, again, it's not steeper. It's the same steepness. It's just that the graph this time has shifted down 3 spots. The graph has shifted down 3 places. So maybe up here, I could say 3 places up to be more specific. So if you look at that, so this is keeping with the sign. All right, this is a positive, it's going up. This is negative, it's going down. So what is the role of the B in the y? It shifts the graph up and down. Okay. So now without graphing, so this is the whole point of this lesson actually, is that you are going into, without graphing, understanding where you're making predictions. So make a prediction of the appearance of the graph in comparison to y equals x. Of the following, is the graph translated above or below? When translated means shifted. It's a mathematical word for shifted, like you're sliding, okay? Above or below the graph of y equals x, does it have a positive or negative correlation? Is the graph steeper or flatter than the graph of y equals x? So we're going to look at the first equation. So always look at, remember to identify your y equals mx plus b. M is always next to x and b is not next to variable. So that's something that you really translate it up or down. When you go back up there, what number is telling you which variable over here is telling you about translation or shifting? And that is b. So what is b over here? B is negative 4. So, and this is telling you that the graph is going to go down 3 spaces. Okay, because it's a negative. Correlation, positive or negative, it's positive because the actual slope is positive. Steeper or shallow. So if you go back up there to what we did over here, the steepness, when we go to the original thing, the higher the number for slope, the higher the steepness. When it's between 0 and 1, when it's a number between 0 and 1, it's going to be more shallow, less steep. So greater than 1, you're going to get a higher steeper. Between 0 and 1, you're going to get a more shallow steepness, if that helps, okay? So this is going to be, because your m is a 3, it's going to be steeper. Y equals 5 plus 3 half x. So in this case, the b is 5, so it's going up 3 spaces. It's positive because m is positive. Steep or shallow, it's going to be, this is 3 over 2 is 1.5, and that's greater than 1, so this is also going to be steeper. And the more you play around with it, the easier this gets for you, that you understand the correlation. And now we have this written in standard form. We need to change it to slope-intercept form. So you subtract 2x from both sides, and you're going to end up getting y equals negative 6 minus 2x. Okay, we're going to be looking at that. And b is negative 6, so it's going down. Whoops, I don't know what word I was writing there. Down 6 spaces. The slope is negative 2, makes negative, so this is going to be negative. It's the actual number is between 1 and it's greater than 1, so it's still going to be steeper. Okay, let's do this one. So subtract x from both sides. So you're going to end up getting, I'm just going to work it out underneath. 2y is equal to 6 minus x. That means now you have to divide to 2. You need to get the y by itself. And this is, again, I'm doing algebra extension courses, something that your teacher might have taught you in that class before you're getting here. Y equals, and if you're not getting it, it's okay. You're just learning extra stuff. So 3 minus 1/2 x. Remember, there's a 1 here, so this is a 1/2 x. So the b is 3, so this is going up 3 spaces. The slope is negative 1/2, so this is going to be negative. And the number is between 0 and 1 for slope, so this is going to be shallow, less steep. All right, that's an easy way to look at the way a graph behaves. And you're going to be expected to understand behavior to a point in the future. Just by looking at the table, make a prediction on the appearance of the graph in comparison to y equals x to the following. Is the graph translated above or below the graph? Does it have positive? So easy, you don't even need to write the equation. You just need the y-intercept and the slope. So the rate is plus 1, so the rate is 1. The y-intercept is x equals 0, y equals 0. So I mean, this is the parent function, so that's what you're looking at from here. Right here, the y-intercept is 0 because of the 0 with the x equals 0. You're going to have plus 4 plus 1, so the rate is 4 over 1, and you can keep checking mentally, but it is 4 over 1. So this is going to be steeper graph. Positive. Over here, the y, and I always like to do the y-intercept, x equals 0, so this is 10. The rate is plus 3, plus 1. So you can just keep doing the mental math. It doesn't. So the rate is 3 over 1, or 3. So the prediction is up 10 spaces, steeper. Okay. Over here, we don't have the y-intercept, so we have to find it. And I always think it's easy. Since we're so close to it, you're subtracting 1 over here to go upwards. You're going to have 0. And let's just look at the behavior here. You're subtracting 1. That means you're going to be adding 1 to go above. So this is going to be 12. So now you subtract 1, it fits it. So the y-intercept is 12. And the rate now is, this is going, we just did it over there, but it's actually a positive 1, positive 1, positive 1. So your rate is negative 1. And the prediction means that the y-intercept is 12, so it's up 12 spaces. Negative correlation. It's negative 1, so the steepness is just the same. Does the change that occurs when graph of y equals x plus 3, describe the change that occurs when the graph of y equals x plus 3 is changed to y equals x minus 1. So you're just looking at the slope and the y-intercept again. The slope is 1, here, it's 1 here. So the steepness doesn't change. It doesn't go from positive to negative. Now your y-intercept is 3 here. So it's above 3 spaces above the origin. This is -1. So this is below 1 space. And that means the graph translates down or shifts down 4 spaces. Okay? And this is, you're trying to do this without graphing. That's why I don't want to show you. If you really do it with graphing, the graph of this is going to start at 1, 2, 3. And it's going to be acting like a parent function because the slope is not a parent function, but the slope is 1. Now the graph of this starts at -1, and it's just going to go of the same slope, so it's going to be parallel to it. The steepness doesn't change. It's just going down 4 spaces. Describe the change that occurs when the graph of y equals -x plus 1 is changed to y equals -3x minus 2. So the slope of this, they're both negative, so it doesn't change. The actual correlation doesn't change. It goes from positive to negative. But what does change is this -1 goes to -3, so the graph is steeper. Their graph is steeper. And now you're looking at to see if it's shifting or translating. So this is a +1, so it's 1 above the graph. Now this is 2 below the graph because it's a -2, so it's gone down 3 spots. So the graph translates down 3 spaces. I really hope you understand how a graph changes just by looking at it, looking at the rate, the slope, and the y-intercepts. If you have any questions, as always, let me know, and I can help you out with these lessons. Bye!